In recent times, we've witnessed the rise of multiple Italian tennis stars. Throwing it back a few years, it was Matteo Berrettini who emerged and placed himself in the spotlight by reaching the Wimbledon final in 2021. But lately, there's been a wave of Italian rising talents. Of course, it is Sinner who leads the way, but behind him come other players, the likes of Musetti, Arnaldi, Darderi, Sonego, Cobolli, just to name a few. This, however, doesn't only happen in men's singles, and the recent French Open is a great demonstration of the great moment that Italian tennis is going through right now. Jasmine Paolini made the women's singles final, while Elisabetta Cocchiaretto had a great tournament as well. And players who we've known for a long time, such as Bolelli and Vavasori, and Sara Errani, partnering with Paolini herself, all made the finals of the doubles tournament. As you can imagine, this Italian dominance of the sport is no coincidence, but rather a result of some great management from the country's federation. Tennis is the sixth most popular sport in Italy, with over 1 million practitioners. The Italian Tennis Federation is one of the biggest tennis federations in the world and has done a remarkable job to help develop the sport across the country. It's known for its forward-thinking development system, which may be an answer as to why there are so many rising talents at the same time. It is the result of a process that started many years ago. One of the most visible ways in which the Federation has contributed to the development of their players is by organizing events. That, of course, requires a lot of investment. But over the last few years, if you've been following tennis, you will have noticed that Italy has been getting more and more involved. They've been organizing the Biennale Internazionale d'Italia, the Masters 1000 in Rome, for multiple years. But in the last 10 years, they also became the first hosts of the next-gen ATP Finals in Milan, which has now moved to Saudi Arabia and gained the right to host the Nitto ATP Finals in Turin after many years of it being held in London. Moreover, they have also organized stages of the new Davis Cup in multiple cities of theirs, not to mention many challenger events and ITF Futures. Having all these events on their soil is a huge advantage, as it allows the federation to give their own players opportunities to play tournaments of different levels. In addition, it also allows the players to play nearby home, which is a huge advantage, as it significantly reduces the travel expenses. While having tournaments to give your players the opportunity to get started in professional tennis or try playing high-level tournaments is great, you need to have the players who to award these opportunities to. This means that besides hosting tournaments, there has to be a lot of work behind the scenes to get the players ready to compete at professional levels. That is where the investments in coaching and infrastructure come to play. By having skilled coaches and venues where the players can train in different surfaces, the federation is paving the way to the emergence of many successful players. It's very common in Italy that clubs have both clay and hard courts, not only outdoor, but indoor as well. Just having these venues is a great advantage for the players, who are able to practice on whatever surface they need to for upcoming tournaments. There is one case in particular that is also worth mentioning. Luciano Darderi, one of the breakthrough players of this season, was born in Via Gesell, Argentina. Having Italian citizenship at 12 years old, he decided to start representing Italy in order to be able to play tournaments in Europe and compete against the best juniors in the world. Behind that decision, of course, is the support of the Italian Tennis Federation, which would not only invest in his career, but would also enable him to use all of their resources. Basically, a range of new opportunities arose for him, which he wouldn't have had if he kept on representing Argentina, as the Argentinian Tennis Federation does not have the capability to invest as much as the Italian Tennis Federation does. For this reason, Luciano and his brother Vito, who, by the way, is another of the upcoming talents of Italian tennis, both represent Italy and spend a lot of time there, even though they are actually based in Argentina, where they train during the off-season, for example. Why do I tell you this story, though? Well, because as you can see, the Italian Tennis Federation not only invested in tournaments, coaching, and venues, also in players. Another great example is Jannik Sinners. Of course, the fact that he has now become the world #1 and is a Grand Slam champion is not because of his country's federation, but most definitely it had a very big impact on his career, especially in his development as a player and the opportunities that he was given. Let's not even talk about his ITF Futures career or his first Challenger main draws, which happened thanks to wild cards he received. Let's just jump to February 2019, when he won his first Challenge title title. Where was it? In Bergamo, Italy. At 17 years and 6 months, he became the youngest Italian to ever win a challenger title, and he ascended over 200 spots in the ATP rankings after that win. He was just getting started at that point, and the fact that he almost didn't have to travel to compete definitely made things easier, both physically and economically. Later on that year, he was given a wild card into the BNL Internazionale d'Italia, the Rome Masters 1000. Unexpectedly, he won his first round match beating Steve Johnson, before eventually losing to Stefanos Tsitsipas. The rest of the year was great, but not quite enough to qualify for the next-gen ATP finals. However, being the organizers, the Italian Tennis Federation had the right to invite a player, and it was Sinner who entered the draw as a wildcard. He beat Tiafoe and Eimer in the group stage and lost to Humbert. This was enough to qualify for the semifinals though, where he beat Miomir Kekmanovic, and incredibly, he also beat Alex de Minaur, the world number 18, in the final in straight sets. He was the first, and only to this date, Italian champion of this tournament. The week after, before finishing his season, he won another ATP Challenger event in Ortici, Italy. This helped him finish the year ranked 78 in the world, which would help him start the following season playing the best tournaments with his own ranking. Then, the rest is history. But what would have happened if Sinner wouldn't have had all the opportunities he had thanks to his federation? Would he be where he is today? Well, that's impossible to know. The fact now is that Italian tennis is in its prime, not only with all the rising talents, but with some of their older players as well, who keep winning on their respective tours. As mentioned already, Roland Garros is a great example of that. Sinner making the semifinals in singles and reaching the world number 1 definitely took most of the attention, but Yasmin Paolini ranked 15 in the world coming into the tournament and made her way to the final. She is a bit older, 28 years old, the same age as Berrettini, for example. Both have been part of the Italian Tennis Federation process, even though their emergence was earlier on. Then, Paolini also reached the women's doubles final with Sara Errani, an Italian tennis legend who keeps going at 37 years old. And in men's singles, it was Bolelli and Vavasori who reached the final. Again, they are nowhere near as young as Sinner, but still, they take advantage of their federation. The fact that they have world-class training centers and infrastructure, as well as world-class coaches, must have definitely had an impact, even if they didn't have as many possibilities years ago during their upbringings. And you know what? This is only the beginning. The current boom of Italian tennis will cause a very big chain effect. Seeing so many of their players do so well, especially in men's and women's singles, which are naturally the most popular events, thousands of kids will want to start playing tennis. Tennis will become more and more popular in Italy, and the fact that many young kids will start playing means that the federation will have the potential to keep upbringing great stars. Most likely, most of them will not make it, but some of them will have the talent, which added to the support of the federation, with all that implies, will give them a great chance of potentially becoming professional players in a few years. Think of all the rising players these days. Sinner, Musetti, Arnaldi, Cobolli. In a few years' time, they will all be established players with years of experience on tour, and will therefore be helping the rising stars who will be just getting started. So in 10 or 15 years' time, don't be surprised if Italian players are dominating the sport. And remember, it is not a coincidence, but the fruit of years of very good work. If you enjoyed today's video, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel so as not to miss any of our other upcoming videos. You can also check out the channel's feed for more great content. We'll see you soon for a new one. Ciao!